within. From dawn till dusk, I work, I strive. With your blessing, I'll survive. The loom, the forge, the sword, the grain in your name, I rise again. Futsa and Niert, Futsa and Chiel, got Bua, got Tolan, got Trio. In you lies strength, in you lies skill, each victory, each talent, each trial. Great, no skill too small. Your gifts, dear goddess, guide us all. Dandusiolas, Mila Truar, Allegory, fade our nights into force. Without your light, we have no guide, but with your hand, our place abide. String the bow. Her gift is all I need to know. Through toil and trial, through heart and hand, her grace builds up this mighty land. Is the grass the dead time it soar? The fiery and tear, our greatest deed. By the grace of the goddess we are free. We'll build the land, our hearts within. To walk within your grace, blessed by her grace, forever, forever.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Backstage, The Search for Steel. Tonight, we're going to figure out if my audio is any better than it was in previous nights, but also we're going to figure out what reality is. So that'll be fun. You see my main microphone testing the audio output with the monitor, and of course it sounds great, but by the time it gets to YouTube, not so much. So, as you can see, Emphere is looking in a certain direction, and that direction is to the future. No, I'm kidding. It is literally to figure out where we are in the build to make the house look a little bit better, as we talk about really existential and trippy things, honestly. Really hard questions that, because human modern technology and where we are today, we can actually, as a society, sit down and think about it. In the past, and especially in the ancient past, we were working to survive, so we didn't get the understanding, or have the time, I should say, to really get the understanding of the of what it means, life itself. We were too busy trying to survive, right? Not a bad thing, just a consequence of our technology, right? Today, we have games we can play. We can certainly do other things. And I was just checking out to see how that take out that view. It's weird. All right. Anyway, designing houses, right, on the go, real time. That one actually might not be a bad position. How's that look? That doesn't look too bad. That kind of looks bad. I'm a little. Now I see that. So I'm just a little off on my build itself. So if I do that, I'm gonna have to do that. See if I can fix this as we talk. Deep discovery. I think I'll actually be able to do it. Interesting. This is one of the hardest things to do in the game is build your house. And what I mean by that is because we all have these grandeur ideas what our house should look like. Not a bad thing. That's the way we envision it. And in doing so, that's a glitch. So tonight we're gonna try to look at what we talked. One interesting point of last night's conversation was Plato's allegory of the cave, and we'll try to associate it to modern life, leadership, and personal growth, and in gaming, because I think all of these and gaming. I'm a big advocate of gaming, especially MMORPGs, where it puts you in a position of responsibility. Maybe that's the guild leader, maybe that's a corp CEO in Eve Online, maybe that's a guild leader or a clan leader in PAX Day. Puts you in a leadership position or some position there, thereby providing skill set that you're going to have to. I don't know if. Yeah, I put a little too many channels on my OBS trying to fix the audio. Anyway, what I mean to say is the actual MMORPGs. I'm a big advocate of attempting to use them or provide a method to use them in actual well, I don't want to say in real life because gaming is to me real life. You're just doing something differently during that. So I guess the accepted form is IRL, right? So in IRL, I guess outside of the game itself, you look to different skill sets, right? And a lot of the times, those skill sets can be used in everyday life, in real life, right? Trying to figure out where I want to put this. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Sometimes you have to build differently. And these are Eve caps. Ooh, I wonder. That one, no, that's a cap. I don't care about that. They've added to the system, so I'm gonna have to figure out some things. 34s. And then we flip it. Interesting. I thought it was at 34. Is it 45? Let's try 45. Yeah, it's a 45. That is okay. Take that out. And so, let's see. So if everybody doesn't remember the allegory of the cave, it's basically a person chained in the cave with other people, looking at shadows on a wall. Those shadows to those people in the cave, dimly lit cave. The shadows of the people on the wall are actually people behind them, right? On a catwalk, right? They're walking in front of the light source. And the people turned away from that catwalk or don't know that catwalk exists are looking at this wall thinking the shadows are real people instead of shadows of those people. One day, we'll call him Theo because I'm making actually a short film of this. Theo breaks free of the chains and runs outside of the cave and realizes the whole world outside the cave, that shadows are different, or because the sun is out, he sees shadows for what they are. People pass him. He sees other people walking in the light and doing everyday things. The breeze on his face not coming from his learned experience of where he used to be, right? In the cave, there might have been a wind, of course it was, right? But it noted or denoted different things. So he figures out that, there's a whole life outside the cave. He goes back inside the cave and says, he tries to convince the people still chained inside the cave, looking at these shadows on the wall. He knows what they are now, so he's looking up at the light source, understanding that there's actually people walking in front of that light source. And he tries to convince people about this, and they basically say, "No, you're an idiot. You're a crazy person. Stay away from us. We don't want to go outside. That's like death, right? You're trying to force us to kill ourselves." Because they don't understand what the cave is. That's a simple version of the cave. Right? Okay. Yeah, I did. This guy. Oh, interesting. Did this fall? No, it's still there. Alright, that was. I do this. We're done. You know, just stop it here and leave that area open. It would look cooler. I had something there, right? That's gonna be way too big. That's something built for the maybe a small. It's gonna help here. Maybe. That works. See, at night you have this little area that's perfect for certain things. You need this. Interesting, right? It's very deep. Oh, no. Let's see what that looks like. That's hard. I guess I can do that, but that's probably it's not too bad. Let's take one bite. That's not too bad. Could have been worse. All right. Yeah, it's a little concentrating here. So that's basically the allegory of the game. the cave. And hey, ask questions if you want up there in the chat or in the comments if you're watching this after the live show. So the symbolism is basically the shadows, cave, chains, sunlight, escape to prison, right? So what are we looking? Well, the shadows are obviously what the other people, right? They represent the people observing somebody doing life, right? If you will. The cave is your shelter. You're pinned to your belief system, right? So that all makes sense, right? You're in ignorance, and you break out, and you're no longer in ignorance, right? I gotta go around here to figure out how I'm gonna finish this off, huh? It's like Lego set. Worse. Do that so I can start making a scaffold. These fine. All right, I need to get more fine beams. Yep, over here. One thing about this, so far, that's what we're talking about on the allegory of the cave. But when we think really deep, right, and that's what we're here to do, we look at it in today's social context, right? What about social media bubbles or groupthink or confirmation bias? Let's put that in the cave, right? People's ability to look at themselves or not break free of their confined thinking, right? And it's a big deal, right? Whether it's a social media bubble or groupthink or confirmation bias, even if you're not in those first two, you still have some type of confirmation bias, especially if you want a certain outcome. You're going to look for things that secure that information that supports your assumptions to confirm what you had thought in the first place. Or that's what we call constant confirmation bias. So how do we look at it? I mean, and there's a grander picture of the allegory of the cave, especially when you apply it to religion. We are humans with a very limited view of the universe. We don't even have to say the universe. A limited view of life existing as a whole. Meaning, if we knew why we were here and what was the purpose of life, need I say more? Right? So there is this broader or more spiritual aspect to this. But right now we're going to stick with the allegory itself of the social media, the bubbles, the groupthink, and of course confirmation bias. I do critical thinking, and critical thinking is part of this part of this discussion where you wouldn't have to worry about it, right? And what I mean by worry about it, do you need to worry about confirmation bias? Really? You find what it means anyway. I have. I got a hole. Here we go. What do I need to get rid of? That's not the chest I was looking for. There it is. Put those because I can make lamps out of those 3 components. Alright. Helps when you're on WS or WASD, right? I should be able to do it from there. Alright. So how do leaders become trapped by outdated beliefs or their comfort zones? It's exactly on that second one. It's a comfort zone. We know why it is because it's familiar. It's similar to things you've done in the past. You're not going to have to think, and thinking is hard sometimes, especially when we have to expend the energy every day on other tasks, not necessarily what we're thinking about at the moment. I mean, for example, one of my struggles is what people call EQ, right? I have to, and I say struggles, what I want to do versus what society deems. I want to treat people with respect, and that is the whole basis, or one of the bases for my position. Meaning, I expect somebody in a certain position to do a certain thing at a certain time because they're a professional themselves, right? And sometimes people just don't have that. They're in that position, but they need help, right? And that's okay. I just have to know they need help before I can help them, if that makes sense. If I don't know they need help, then how can I help them, right? All this for don't want a floor up here, but I do need a matter of fact, I can use the cheap stuff. I don't need to use the good stuff. Okay. That should be enough to craft the roof that I want to. So it looks I would want to bring this around this. What am I missing? Play shingles. Thought I had plenty of clay shingles, but I probably just used them. And of course, I clay shingles. Forward thinking, by the way. All right, now we have clay shingles. So leaders in general, and leaders, I want to make sure people. I distinguish this because a lot of people think leaders, oh, they're managers. No, they can be managers, but no, they don't have to be managers, right? Why do I say it in those terms? Well, to put it simply, a leader is anybody. So let's go with that. Right? Anybody can be a leader. And that's okay. So that's our premise. Anybody can be a leader, therefore, anytime I say leader, I mean you. Right? That's what I mean by leader. What am I missing? Find what means, really? No, I know what I mean. I'm missing find what means. Because I used them all. Crafting scaffolding that I'm going to take down. Now we need planks. Oh, awesome. There we go. I think I can see that out. Okay. So what are the other things that we're talking about here? Well, when we're saying outdated beliefs. Well, what is an outdated belief? Because a belief is strong. It's a strong word. When I use belief, I mean that's a value that was drilled into when you were younger, and it's something that is foundational to your personality. Belief is that strong. A fundamental belief. If I believe a sports team is going to win, that's a different. I'm talking about the strong beliefs for everyday decision making. I've seen A and it becomes B. However, we're trying to kind of critically think through that. I've seen A, it could be B, but what are the other options? Is C an option? And why is it an option? A little Socratic method in there as well. So all these things that we're looking at when we ask the question, how leaders become trapped by outdated beliefs, we're not saying how. We're saying perhaps you are. You need to self-reflect immediately. Some decisions are going to need to be made immediately, but this is why thinking all the time and challenging your beliefs all the time is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. You could be, and a lot of people, I don't want to challenge my beliefs. I believe them. Okay. How about challenging them so they become a stronger belief? Just because you challenge something doesn't make it go away, right? I want to make that abundantly clear. And I'll say it again. Just because you challenge something does not mean it goes away. And I was not on my proper. All right. That wasn't on my proper keys, WASD. Anyway. So how do we become trapped? Well, the comfort zones are easy. Something's easy. So we're comfortable with it. And we move in the direction because we're comfortable with it without analyzing why that is a thing, right? And that's a bad thing, in my opinion. That's horrible, as a matter of fact. Why is it horrible? Well, because, but simply, you cannot live your life, or should not live your life, with these limitations, because you're not going to give yourself options, which is going to suck. The options that you're limiting yourself All right, let me say it this way. Maybe these options before you challenge your belief would give you 5% return. It's a consistent 5% return, so I am comfortable with that 5% return. Am I not? Of course I am. Don't be ridiculous. That's always a thing, right? And that's okay. 5% return is good. But what if you challenge your belief? Instead of a 5% return, it became 25%. Right? Pretty cool. Absolutely a better return just for challenging your current beliefs. Right? You see where I'm going with this, I hope. And I think it's beneficial because instead of 5% return, you can get a 10% return. Why? Because you thought about it for a little bit. All right, sure, that works. So when we lead to the how leaders become trapped, it's very simple. They don't want to think about anything differently, or maybe they want to, but they just don't set aside the time to do so. That could be possible, right? Absolutely. Getting ready to go get some hardwood, so I have to change clothes and get a weapon. What weapon do I want to get them? I definitely need that, and that. Which means I need have gloves. Oh, I need those. Yeah, I have everything. That's it. There we go. I just get out. There it is. Got it. I need an axe as well. Really? Everything real quick. Food as well, since I'll be outside my home for a little bit. The bears do. There we go. I'm gonna have to go get some stuff. Let's make bear stew. Since bears are now really hard to kill, I'm gonna have to figure it out. That's alright though. Anyway. So let's think of some practical reasons for leaders to challenge their assumptions and embrace the uncomfortable truths. I think we've named a few, right? Critical thinking has to occur. And is it uncomfortable? Of course it is. But you have to at least try to do it. And why do I say that? Well, you want to be able to look at your assumptions and you want to look at your truths periodically because we always gain new data. Perhaps. And if there is no new information, or you can't find any new information, that's fine too. Then I believe you've taken that step to challenge your assumption, and you did. So you can stop right there. Right, your assumption has proven out not to be it's still an assumption, but at least it's reinforced your way of thinking about the assumption. The exercise of critical thinking is to look at assumptions and beliefs. And I say I used uncomfortable truths before I used beliefs, but essentially it's the same thing, right? So when you look at, well, I stopped running. When you look at these assumptions and do a little bit more research, AI can certainly help you. Right? These are not things that you need to be in the dark. So critically thinking through these assumptions, I just noticed. Are these guys gone? Huh. Interesting. So any questions, just throw them in the chat. I mean, the big thing, I'll go into a whole critical thinking show because I think it's that important. Every time you come up to something, you don't need to question it. But I would say, well, actually, if you have time, I'd question everything. And if it stands true, then you just move on. It's true. Therefore, I will go with the decision or with the application. Now, here's something. Perhaps you don't have time to think about it, but you have a team underneath you who more than likely have similar but different beliefs and assumptions. If you widen the ask to around the office or your team, now you're going to gain the assumptions and beliefs that differ from your own, be it marginally or extremely. Then you'll be able to make those decisions with a bit more breadth, a wider scope, if you will, which is perfect. I mean, that's okay too, right? We don't have the opportunity sometimes to go home, sit down and go, and I believe this today. Let me do research on that. That's something I do, honestly. And that's why I started the podcast, because I learn a lot from the podcast. I learn a lot about my assumptions. I learn a lot about my beliefs. Does it change them? No, sometimes it does. Sometimes it reinforces them. But for the most part, listening to other people's beliefs and assumptions help me either ground myself in my assumptions and beliefs, or introduce me to another belief system that I hadn't thought of before. Right? And so has anybody else successfully stepped out of their comfort zone? Ever take a day off from skinning? I'm almost at 40, but I'm not there yet. So let's see. Well, the next logical topic would be, when you're looking at your belief systems and your value systems and your assumptions, you resist it. So how do people stop resisting change or new perspectives? How do people become open? Well, through learning, through philosophy. Asking questions alone is a way to change your perspective. Right? And in doing so, you theoretically are stepping out of the cave. The first question you levy on a belief is the first time you have the opportunity. That's a first step in the cave to get out of the cave. If we're using the allegory, right? Let's think of a good belief or assumption. Does anybody have one? I'm trying to think of one really good. What's a good belief or assumption that people that's not controversial? Because I don't want to lose the conversation in the noise of controversy, because a lot of debate goes off on tangents, and that's not what we're here to do. We're here to, well, in a way we are, but I don't want to argue the belief or assumption directly. Argue, or I want to find a belief or assumption that will allow us the ability to demonstrate the question. People question their faith all the time, right? And it's a good thing, depending on the faith, right? But I don't think any faith would sit there and go, yeah, everybody cannot question this faith because the doctrine is absolute. I don't even believe Christianity does that. Even the sects of Christianity that are pretty strict. Essentially, you're looking at different ways of question. It doesn't mean if you question something, it doesn't make it negative. And if somebody tells you it does, it means they're either hiding something or they don't want you to find out something. A question is not inherently evil. The motive behind the question might be, but the question itself is not. What do I mean by that? Lawyers ask questions all the time to dig out a certain response, and in that response, they would find fault. That I would say that question would be, the intent would be more evil than not, right? But getting out of the cave is very, very difficult. It's not an easy thing. There's parables after parable after parable that provide the key of getting out of the cave, and nobody takes it. Wu Wei, Buddhism has a parable. We had Plato's Allegory of the Cave. We have what was it? The Parable of the Birds. I don't know when that was actually created, but it was how the explanation of how God communicated with humankind, because God is above humankind, or aside the existence of humankind. So the parable is saying, he had to become one with humanity in order for humanity to understand his message. The allegory of the cave is that same thing. When the person comes out, we're calling Theo because that's my main character. When Theo gets back in the cave, he's talking to people, but the people just simply aren't listening because they're not open-minded enough. They're not taught to critically think. Their existence is in front of them. Their existence is solely what they see, what they feel, what they can touch. And I think that's the key of stepping toward the outside of the cave, or actually stepping outside of the cave, right? Glad you don't take any hit points of damage from trees falling, although it would be hilarious. Let me look it up. We'll ask AI. Because AI is a really good aggregator of information. That's not what they do. I always pick up the resin because it's so hard. Oh, here you go. Steve Jobs. He was his the cave he stepped out of could have been, and these are all kind of theoreticals, right? If we imagine the conventional computing and mobile phone design was the cave, then his escape, he basically retooled those two industries, created user-friendly, aesthetically pleasing products. And he challenged the tech industry, right? Yeah, especially the dorms, reshaping the user experiences globally. He didn't just trigger it in one country. It's still to this day it's a global phenomenon. And really, they haven't. I'm not going to say they haven't innovated anything, but they certainly haven't changed or stepped out of the current cave. Right? This series of caves, I guess. Let's talk about that. That's an interesting aspect of this, but that's not what we're here to talk about. So let's move on. Nelson Mandela could be one of those leaders, right? The cave he stepped out of was apartheid, racial segregation, and deep rooted social division. It makes sense. I could agree with this assessment. Well, what did he escape? Well, he advocated for forgiveness and reconciliation, and he led South Africa toward unity and democratic governance. Okay, that's spot on to me. That's stepping out of the cave, right? Let's see, Elon Musk, Tesla, and SpaceX. The cave was traditional automotive and aerospace. And of course, we know he challenged the industry giants: Ford, Chevy, Toyota, Honda. They owned cars and car manufacturing, and he challenged them. And he challenged it by making manufacturing in the United States, which is another feat a lot of people don't give him credit for. He has other factories in other countries, but the cars he sells in the United States go to the United States. The cars that go into those other countries, I can't speak to because I don't know, but I know the cars that he makes here in the United States do go to the United States market. How about Malala Yousafzai? He was an education advocate. His cave was oppression and especially denying education to girls in her region. I'm sorry, I didn't recognize it as a female name, so apologies. I should have. Crap. How did I pick all that up? Might as well take care of this guy. All this for the what I need to build my house. All right. Let's see. The cave was British colonial rule and violent resistance. What did she introduce? Nonviolent resistance as a powerful tool for change. Also inspiring peaceful civil rights movements worldwide. Cool. That's very respectable, right? And if we go to Mahatma Gandhi in India, again, the cave was British colonial rule in violent resistance norms. He introduced nonviolent resistance as a powerful tool for change, inspiring peace and civil rights movements worldwide. Right? So these are all caves that were walked out of. How about Satya Nadella? Microsoft previously rigid corporate culture and competitive mindset. What did he do? Emphasized collaboration, empathy, and a growth mindset, rejuvenating Microsoft into the most valuable company, or one of the most valuable companies today. And I'm going to be on this list, not with this company, but I'm going to change education, because education right now is broken. I believe in apprenticeships. I believe in the journeyman. Right? What can we do in order to make a better future for our kids? And I think the trades are going to be invaluable. And I think college education, to a certain degree, is great. However, not all college degrees are worth the paper they're written on. Of course, STEM. Let's talk STEM. STEM is good. But let's make STEM better. So let's get out of the cave that we're trapped in. Right? No. Here we go. Let's see. So why are people resistant to change or new perspectives? Well, I wouldn't call it lazy entirely. I think one or two reasons for it is laziness, but I don't think that's the entire reason, right? So let's dive into this. See, I typed it into AI just to get me started, and I can take off from there. I've been working all day, so unfortunately, I haven't had the appropriate out. Now what I'm going to do. I asked it something. I'm like, it's not multitasking. Prompting is everything in AI. I will make an entire series on AI. All right. It's funny. I'm just clearing out forest after forest, getting only good wood. I think there's only 2 levels of wood. There might be 3. And I haven't encountered the other one. Okay, so why do people resist change? Well, it'll induce uncertainty into people's lives, discomfort. Nobody likes to be uncomfortable. If we look at familiarity, it feels safe. even if it's limiting. A lot of people, let's even, I'll even compare that to today. Safety makes people feel safe. The government's got to do my, be responsible for my safety, and I feel safe because, well, you have to be responsible for your safety. You can't be safe with somebody 8 to 10 minutes away from you if you use the national stats for police responses. And then when they get there, you have strangers coming to your call who have no idea what setup they're going into. Therefore, you are part of the problem. Even if you call, you're still part of the problem because they don't know you called. You step out of your comfort zones, it means confronting fear. Fear of failure is a big one. Fear of rejection is another one. Right? And that's another thing I'm going to attempt to do in my lifetime is get rid of the fear of failure. Maybe you lose something valuable as well. That's always something that I think that's a fear of failure, but still a fear. It also challenges your identity. Like I said, beliefs and habits, they're instinctive in us, and we push back instinctively to maintain our worldview. It's a big deal. It is a big deal. Like I said, beliefs are not something tiny. They're not this fly-by-night little whatever, right? Beliefs are mighty, and stepping out of your comfort zone with a belief takes a strong person with conviction that wants to make everything right. Looking for heart. Oh, there it is. There we go. I think I have everything I need. Need that out. The guys that built this, I guess they moved on. It's kind of odd. That's one big plot just left. That's all right. To each his own. The game's awesome. I don't care. All right, so let's see. Here's some personal tips, right? How do you break free of this cycle? So first, you want to reflect regularly. Like I said, ask yourself those tough questions. Why do I hold this belief? Is it helping me or limiting me or causing something in between? Right? These are all good questions. You don't want to fall victim to yourself. Right? I mean, could you imagine? I mean, I can. And I've done it, right? I'm not mean. I do this a lot. But point being is, question it. Why is it important to you? Right? Well, actually, yeah, I'll just do 6 beans and 6 planks. See what happens. Find beans. Well, 6. Okay. Challenge your comfort zones gradually, because your comfort zones are stressful. When you start to challenge them, start small. Make minor changes in your daily routines, or even in your beliefs. Beliefs, I gotta do a whole show on that. I say beliefs, but it's really hard to change a belief. gradually working your way up to the bigger shift in your viewpoint. Seek diverse perspectives, right? Regularly engage with people or content that differ from your own views. If you're thinking, diversity of thought helps blind spots and reveals hidden illusions. Well, of course it does. If I don't know it exists and somebody else does, I'll never know that I don't know what I don't know. Many people have probably heard that, right? How about embrace constructive discomfort? Instead of running from discomfort, lean into it. And you'll see that you're growing because of it. How about practicing mindfulness? Being aware of your thoughts, emotions, or reactions allows you to identify patterns of self-limitation, clarity, right? So practice mindfulness. And I'll say that one again. Your thoughts, be aware of this. Your emotions, always be aware of your emotions. Well, what is peace? Practice mindfulness. Stoicism is a great way of doing that. So is Wu Wei, but I know it sounds weird, but it's true. Wu Wei is a practice of effortless motion. Essentially, is how it's translated. A lot of times, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. I have the beams. Now I need this. Okay. And with all this said, nobody should be thinking, I'm not a philosopher, I'm not a monk, I'm not a priest. Why should I take the time to do this? Well, A, it's accessible to anyone willing to question their own perceptions. Actively pursuing the truth and growing enriches you, personal and professional life. It can do nothing but help you. It can transform your leadership style as well, improve your personal relationships, and even enhance your gaming experiences by deepening your understanding of yourself and others. You can't passively wait for wisdom. You chase it down, one question at a time. And that way, you'll step boldly out of the cave and into the light. So, when we look at the allegory and applying to gaming narratives, mechanics, and player psychology, what are we talking about? Right? Let's look at gaming through the lens of Plato. I need some examples myself of this. I forgot where I am. Crap. Sorry. Oh. All right, we got that. Get back changed into our other clothes. There we go. And we'll put these away. I should be good to go as far as construction materials now. These for sure. Those planks definitely. I need that. Absolutely. I need those. I need pegs. I need rock. I need clay. What else am I going to need? Do I have normal planks? Yeah, I get it. Okay. Ooh. Let me take a look at this. Very cool. Let's take a look at this from a higher altitude. I put some land chandeliers in the in that area above the in the new area, and I want to make sure that they look okay. I can't see them from here. I'm gonna have to go on the bridge. Man, this guy has a lot of coal. I'm up here on the bridge. That doesn't look bad. Okay. I'll keep it. Man, he went really close to the ledge. Very poor. I wasn't expecting that much damage. No one expects a Spanish Inquisition. Anybody got that? Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll be here till Tuesday. Really? I didn't think I would actually take a dive there, but okay. I guess I will build these out a little bit. There we go. And then I need... Ah, crap. I know what I forgot. In a rush to do this, and I forgot my clay. It seems a little harsh for that little jump. I'm gonna put some of these beams away. I'll put them over here just so I know where they are. I don't need that many. Like, I don't need this many. Okay, now I can get all the way I need. Bricks. I'll need those to build walls if I decide to do so. And they're expensive on the building side. So. Yeah, we do. Okay, so when we talk about Plato's allegory of the cave, many gaming experiences, particularly in how players begin a game, are unaware of the deeper narrative of truths, right? So do we say it that way? No, this is more of a become aware that there may be deeper narratives or hidden truths. When you see the game's surface level elements, like the basic mechanics or introductory storyline, you accept them at face value. And as you progress, we're often confronted by plot twists or hidden quote unquote additional information or more complex mechanics that challenge our previous assumptions. Well, the transition from us being ignorant to a deeper understanding of the master or the mastery of the parallels parallels the prisoner stepping out of Plato's cave into enlightenment, right? The psychology of the player's experience is a sense of revelation, of satisfaction and empowerment, right? And because you're uncovering these truths hidden within the game, it encourages you to continued engagement and exploration, right? So think about that. Think about that. And think about it in compared to uh, your your um, your current what's a good word for it? Think about it IRL too. Doing these things makes life right. I'll say that louder if you want. Let's think the Legend of Zelda, the Breath of the Wild. When you're starting that, you know about a little bit about the past or the purpose, and you slowly rediscover memories, uncovering hidden histories or masked histories, if you will, and then mastering the complex gameplay mechanics, right? And it symbolizes enlightenment within the gaming system. Or the Portal series. The we initially believe we're part of a simple testing program, and then as the game starts to unravel, the gradual unsettling truths about the our environment, where we are, and what their true purpose are become evident. Dark Souls or Elden Ring, we begin with minimal guidance, literally none. I'm not even gonna say minimal, and you piece together the lore, the cryptic. It's not just straightforward lore, and all the hidden narratives, and then you would start achieving a deeper philosophical insight and mastery through the personal effort and discovery within the gaming system. In Bioshock, a prime example of discovering uncomfortable truths beneath the surface, right? Um, challenging player perceptions and decisions with dramatic narrative twists. Bioshock is a big one. Well, if we look at potential ways game designers or players can benefit from the allegory, for game designers, use layered storytelling, right? Start with a simple or misleading truth. Gradually reveal deeper layers to enhance player immersion and engagement. If you're encouraging exploration, curiosity through hidden lore or mechanics, rewarding us players who seek a deeper understanding. You design character arcs around enlightenment, allowing players to experience meaningful personal growth alongside gameplay progression. One of the things that anime does amazingly is even the villains have an arc, and they have an arc in such a way that it comes down to growth. Some antagonists, not necessarily the main villain, the protagonist will defeat them in like a battle or something, but then the antagonist becomes one of the best friends of the protagonist. Growth coming out of the cave, seeing what they did was a mistake or not, or wasn't a good way to think. Right? For players, let's look at this. You want to approach the game with curiosity, recognizing there may be deeper layers to uncover, enhancing your overall gaming experience. You want to apply the allegory by remaining open to shifts in the perspectives or understanding within the games. With this mindset, you enrich your personal growth, even beyond gaming, right? It brings it back in the IRL. Using gaming as a safe space to practice challenging assumptions, by the way, is a great tool. And stepping out of the comfort zones and preparing you to do so in real life scenarios. For example, a great example of this is EVE Online. With EVE Online, you can join a corporation and become a low level part of the corporation. Corporations, don't get me wrong, you're low, quote unquote, low level, but everybody has a voice in good corporations. Everybody is doing something valued for the corporation. Mostly the higher ups or longer term corporate players are mentoring you to become better until you get better stats and better things, abilities, and such skills. and equipment, right? Sometimes they'll help you get that better as well. The good news about joining a corporation and even online. Well, perhaps they're like, hey, we need this Excel file to track everybody's mining yields. And you're like, oh, man, I'm not that good at Excel. But you're the only available player because everybody else is tied up with something else in game or IRL. They're just too busy IRL. Well, what does it do for you? Well, it's making you step out of your comfort zone. It's a game, so you're not as tied to the fear of underperforming like you would at work, right? So all these things are good for you. Now, I would challenge you that the 4 players portion of what I just said, bring it to IRL. Approach life with curiosity and recognize there are deeper layers to uncover, enhancing your overall life experience. Pretty cool, right? Just change one word. We can really take this as a life lesson. I wholeheartedly would advocate for that statement to be true for everybody. Apply the allegory to yourself to open your shifts in perspective or underlying or understanding within life. This mindset enriches personal growth, right? Unfortunately, with gaming, you can use as a safe space. In life, you don't have those, but you still can try them. You just have to understand, hey, I may fail, and that's okay, right? You gotta see what this looks like from the actually looks pretty cool. You can deal with that. All right, cool. Let me see if I do this. That's not what I do, but it'll be fine. This guy hasn't been around for a while. I wonder. No, it's still his. Alright, that doesn't look that bad. I'll have to remove those columns for the most part. I think I can leave the rest of the roof off and leave my kitchen for now. Alright. Let's get back to the game. Or, no, sorry, the lecture. I call it. It's not. Nope. Have it on automatic run. Alright. So these are the questions I have for you, right? What can you do the allegory of the cave, or what anything that we've said? I keep saying, through the lens of the allegory of the cave, but honestly, it doesn't really matter, does it? I mean, these are things that, if you want to say allegory of the cave, sure, okay, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have the allegory of the cave, right? Just gonna die soon. This is scaffolding. What questions do you have for me? I encourage you to go look for the Allegory of the Cave. Yeah, that works. Okay. And find out for yourself. Again, the whole point of the channel is don't take my word for it. No, look this up. Go to AI if you have Grok or ChatGPT or Claude or Copilot or name or insert the AI DeepSeek R1 if you want to, and question everything, because where we come from, there's a deeper truth. There is something that means something to us. Remember, society is a real thing, right? So, in essence, we can't really look at society and say we're going to shun all of society, because you can't. You have to work within society, and we talked about society in depth. Without us as a social human society, we're going to fall as humans. I mean, least of all countries. People who align. Let me say it a different way. Because I'm giving you this information to challenge your beliefs, challenge your assumptions. When you find that information out, you have to go back in the game, convince people that they should be challenging theirs. Excuse me, I had a sneeze. I held that one. So think about it in those terms as well. You have to go back into this game to try and convince people to get out of the cave. How do you do it? How do you create that environment where those people feel, I'll say, safe to change, to literally change? Now, how about this? Here's something I just thought of. Let's just throw it out there. Let me know in the comments if you think this is a good idea. Let's get people to play games. Try things outside their comfort zone. Let's say somebody is more selfish than other people. Instead of saying they're selfish, try to get them to play a character that's more, I'll use a D&D term, awful good, selfless, honorable, truthful. What's another good word? To be literally a good steward of the community within the game. Like, for example, people come to Amphier and say, "Hey, can you make me this? Can you make me that?" I am having trouble. And I was like, "Well, if you bring in materials, like if it's too high level materials, I'll say, well, you're gonna have to at least give me some gold for this, right?" It's not necessarily a neutral aspect to Amphier's character. I want to put some responsibility. It's not I don't live in a communism. I live in a trade. It's not even a feudalism in Pax Day. It's more it's a little bit different. The older players take care of the younger players. It's just the way it is, and that's okay. That's the way it should be. And when what aspect this game will provide is age, right? In our world, in real life, the young should be taking care of the old. Now, I say that in general. It's the young family members should be taking care of the old family members. But what happens if tragedy struck and now you have the old family members and the young family members? Times of war, this happens, right? World War II, this happened a lot. Well, in those cases, the communities should come together. I don't think the state or the government should be the ones leading the charge, but we as a society should agree or disagree. We should come up with a plan that says our old people are valuable to us because they built what we have today. As many mistakes as they had made in the past, they've done this for us. Therefore, we need to take care of them. Just an example of society and beliefs, challenging beliefs. You know, if somebody's been mean to me my entire life, why? Why were you mean to me? Then you might never get a straight answer. And in those cases, you'll never be able to move that needle with that person. However, you don't have to continue to keep that person in your life, right? And what are the aspects? Ask your question. What happens if I remove this person from my life, from my circles, right? It makes sense to look at different aspects of a. I'm trying to adjust my mic a little bit because I've noticed it's going more in the red than anything. But anyway, the overall aspect I think tonight is go take a look at the allegory. It'll take you 5 minutes. It'll probably take you longer to analyze yourself and find yourself a good game, play backstage, and see what you can do within the contexts of gaming, of bettering yourself, bettering other people, influencing other people. Remember, this channel is really for to make the best version of yourself. I'm not trying to change you. I'm trying to give you the tools for you to change yourself into what you want. If I disagree with that change or that end result, that's on me. For you to do it, that's on you. And if you're comfortable in doing it, then that's on you as well. So let's do this together. Let's find this journey together. I may be on tomorrow. It's Sunday here in the United States, Sunday, and it would be March 6th. I might take a day off, I'm not sure. However, if we do come back, I probably will go into a little bit more critical thinking as I am finished the builds. I might go journey and explore some places in PAX Day. I'm not sure yet. Haven't decided, but we'll figure it out. And if you're on with me in the chat, you can help me decide where to go next. With all that said, let's take a good look at the view that that I have been able to craft. Absolutely insane. Loving it. By the river. In real life, it would flood probably, but that's okay. That's all right. I'm okay with it. I would have built it higher, right? I think flood water. But anyway, well, I do have a music channel, by the way. I will be putting out another music video called Deadlines and Broken Clocks. Awesome sound. I do use Suno AI, and I do write some lyrics. I modify lyrics. I do vocal direction within Suno AI, and I do instrumental direction as well, as much as I can with the AI. But it's produced some really good songs. Go check them out on my channel, YouTube. I think I also put them on my Rumble channel. Have that in my X account. Please reach out to me. And what else do I have? My shorts, my YouTube shorts. I think they're pretty awesome. They go into a little bit of what I do during episodes so I can get out the core message of the episode without getting if people cannot watch the 2-hour episode. So with all that, please let me know what you think about the show. I might change it because PAX Day is really intensive and it's hard to talk philosophical questions and changing philosophical answers, such things like that, while I'm playing a game. But I think it's fun so far. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Share the show with your friends because I heard it helps the algorithm. So let's do it. What else can I say? Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. If you've gotten this far, I hope to see you tomorrow night. I will make an X post, so if you follow me on X, you'll see those posts go up every time I'm going to go live. Usually within at least 4 hours of when I go live, depending on how much prep I do. It might be earlier. All right. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please think about the allegory of the cave and where you are in your life. And until tomorrow, I hope you have a good day or a good night, depending on where you're listening. And I hope I triggered something in you, motivated you to move your needle forward. So, with all that said, have a good day, have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.
With every step, a lesson learned. From fire's heat to the fields I've turned. The blade and bow, the forge and flame. I sharpen my skills, I play the game. Each day brings a challenge I must face. I train my hands with careful grace. From alchemy's art to the hunter's way, I'll find the strength to seize the day. I carve my path, I walk the line, in the shadow of the ancient sign. Through trial and toil I'll find my way, learning more with each passing day. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I'll face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight. From the herbs I find to the iron I mold, each lesson learned is a story told. The stars above, they guide my hand. As I hone my craft, I take my stand. In the quiet woods, in the mountains chill, I push myself, I shape my will. With each new tool and every lore, I'm stronger now than I was before. I carve my path, I walk the line, in the shadow of the ancient sign. Through trial and toil I'll find my way, learning more with each passing day. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I'll face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight. The road is long, but I won't turn back. The lessons I learned keep me on track. With each new skill, the stronger I grow. In the face of the storm, I let my courage show. I've tasted defeat, I felt the sting, but I rise again with each new spring. For knowledge is power, and wisdom the key. I'm forging my path, I'm breaking free. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I'll face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight.